Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining. We're ready to start. My name is Josh Hughman. I'm a sales director for Creatio across the UK and Ireland. I've been with Creatio for about 4 and a bit years now, working in various parts of software, a little over 10. Okay. Today, we're going to be looking at digital transformation with a focus on banking and looking at how different banks and financial services businesses are using no-code to really revolutionize, if I can say the word, the way they're doing things. Okay? Now, to start with, a little bit of background on who Creatio are. Now, as a show of hands, how many of you have worked with or know much about Creatio already? Okay, that's what I'm used to, so this is good. So as a little bit of background then, so Creatio is, we are an off-the-shelf CRM platform that provides complete flexibility with no code. So every UI, every page, every form, every workflow process, API integration can all be set up and configured without needing developers to come in and do any coding. So I'm going to spend more time going through this today, but at our high level, that's what it's for. And the idea is that it's so easy that your citizen developers or people without development training can actually use the system and do a lot of the work for you. Now, you mentioned that not many of you have actually heard of us before. We are very highly recognized by the likes of Gartner, Forrester. We are in 13 different Magic Quadrants and Forrester Waves, covering a lot of different functionality as a no-code platform, workflow automation, marketing automation, lead automation, Salesforce automation, customer service, and all these different areas. So we're recognized as a leader in some, challenger in others, but we're recognized very, very highly across the board. And really most importantly for us is this section at the bottom where our customer feedback is also very, very high. So if you go to the likes of G2, Capterra, all the publicly aggregated feedback scores, we score consistently at the top of our industry. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is throughout as well. Now, looking at financial services in particular, in this Forrester Wave for FinServe CRM, Creatio is nestled quite nicely here, and you'll see we're kind of around Microsoft, Salesforce, Pega, all the kind of big players that everyone does know about and has worked with before. Creatio is right up there with them in terms of capabilities. Now, we're very proud of this. We are much newer. We are the challenger to the industry, and we do things very differently, but we are really one of the fastest growing CRM and no-code platforms worldwide. And this is really why, and hopefully next time when I ask a crowd, have you heard of Creatio before? More people will be saying, yes, we have, all right? So why no code? Why is no code important? Why is everybody talking about it? I've had 3 people come to my desk today upstairs and say, I'm here because everyone keeps saying no code and I don't know what it is. So hopefully at the end of this, you'll know why and why it's important. Studies have shown that there are a total of 25 million developers worldwide. Now, how many of you in your businesses have ever had trouble getting enough development support, enough work done? How many of you have a backlog, if I can see a show of hands, of tasks that need to be done? Often you focus on that top kind of 10, 20% of urgent stuff, and there's a 10, 20% at the bottom that just never seems to get done. And this is what we're talking about here. There's just not enough developers to go around. They predict over the next 5 years, more than 500 million applications are going to need to be developed, as well as all the legacy systems that need looking after and maintaining. There's simply not enough people to manage all these systems and keep up with the pace of what's needed. So no code, and where this is going to help us, is by tapping into this huge amount of what we call knowledge workers, the people that can become citizen developers, the people who actually know the processes, know what they need, know the reports, the dashboards they want, but don't necessarily have the coding skills to create all this the traditional way. So using no code, what we want to do is give as many tasks as possible to these knowledge workers so that your IT guys and the developers can focus on the important stuff and what they need to do. Okay? Now, in banking in particular, there is a huge drive for this, a huge need for continued development and improving services. So from the customer view, customers are very demanding. They want everything to work immediately. They want that automation of every process. They want to go online and request a loan or open an account and it just to happen instantly and magically. They want personalized services, so they want you to offer them things that are tailored to what they want. From an employee perspective, we see still so many financial institutions using so many different systems. So your employees are having to log into one platform to do one thing, then type that data into somewhere else, and they'll probably just do Excel for a little bit because it's easier. And they say that actually for each employee a bank has, they lose on average 1 day per month of productivity based on using too many different systems and having to move in and out. So if you think about that scale, how much time you're actually losing there. From a management perspective, managers want to see data. They change their minds about what data they want to see and what reports and when they want it. And frequently, developers and the IT teams are just generating reports and pulling data out of different systems to create it. And for IT teams, just this constant building of pressure and stress of we've got so much to do, there's always more to do, and we're not getting more resources to actually cope with this. There's always a lot of talk about, we want to grow the business and serve more customers, but we don't want to get more resources in to facilitate that. So how can we get through this? So a little bit of a history lesson. Some of you will remember if we go back 30, 40 years, I don't remember, but if you go back that far, you would sit down with someone like an IBM or one of these big software houses and you would plan out exactly the software you wanted. They would spend 18 months, 2 years, and they'd build it for you. And it would kind of do what you want it to do in this monolithic single platform architecture, but it was very expensive, slow. If you wanted to change it, you simply couldn't. This evolved into the cloud architecture era, kind of more the SaaS model that we're more used to now. You take an off-the-shelf product, you get it, it kind of does what you want it to do, but the reality is it never actually does what you need it to do. Your business changes, your processes change, and you're stuck in this endless cycle of paying more money, spending more time to try and tailor this off-the-shelf product into what you wish it was. Now, where we are now is what we are calling the composable no-code architecture period, where you're actually able to manage each of your applications individually, fully low code, so you can keep up with that change of business without needing to rely on third parties to do everything for you. Okay? So the composable part of this, what do we mean? So rather than thinking of, you take an off-the-shelf system, we can actually break down your business into different applications of what you need to do. If we're talking banking, it might be KYC, AML, compliance, risk, something like this. That's your application, but we can break that down into different parts through to the processes, the pages, the forms, and even the individual objects within that. So what we want to do with a no-code platform is make it as easy as possible to piece these together to build out those different applications that you need, and do it in a way that doesn't require developers, and that even with a bit of basic training, your teams will be able to manage. And these are those different blocks here that we talk about. Now, the idea being that in the end, and you won't be able to see this, I think, but what you'd end up with is a web of different applications. So our Creatio customers, they have an application hub where you treat each application as its separate thing to be managed. You'll have your core CRM functionality, lead management, customer 360, opportunity management, customer onboarding, as well as the more FinServe specific workflows, the KYC, AML, underwriting, this kind of thing. But you can treat each of them as its own application. You go in, manage that process, manage those pages, all without developers needing to do it. So where does Creatio come into all this? So Creatio, we separate ourselves in 3 different pillars. We have a single platform, we give complete freedom, and our idea of genuine care. So what do these mean? So with one platform, at the beginning I talked about Creatio being a combination of off-the-shelf functionality and the no-code tool sets. So within Creatio, you get off-the-shelf a complete marketing suite, sales CRM, customer service CRM, and for banking customers, kind of lending, loan origination, KYC, all coming off the shelf in the system on day one. and all built on a single database with a single data model. So it's not a different tool for marketing and a different tool for sales and a different tool for KYC. It's all connected underneath at that database level. Now, any of you that do work with disconnected architectures, you'll know that that's half the challenge. When you're trying to customize things or you're trying to pull data in from different places, having a different system for each thing is a problem. So the more that we can bring into one platform, the better. And with it all coming, or a lot of it coming off the shelf on day one, you're not starting from scratch. You've got kind of advanced case management functionality to start to work with, or email campaign functionality to start with. And then within all this, you've got the UI designers, the workflow builders, the API tools, still all connected in that single platform. So it's all about doing as much as possible in one place to make all your future development as quick and easy as possible. Now, the maximum degree of freedom. So what we mean by this, it's not just that every part of the system is no code. All the off-the-shelf functionality, you can change every page, every workflow, you can create new pages and new workflows. But also how we work together in a partnership is designed to give you that freedom. So we have a very simple pricing model. It's per user, per license. Then you can build 1,000 workflows and 1,000 API integrations, and there's no extra cost anywhere. So it's very scalable, it's very manageable, and because it's so easy to use, you don't necessarily need to keep hiring more and more developers as you grow, because your teams with a bit of basic training will be able to use these tool sets as well. Okay? So you've got the flexibility, the freedom of the tool, and you've got the freedom of the actual commercial model and how it works. I guess the other thing I would add here, because it comes up as a question on no code quite a lot, is, well, what if there's limitations? You do have access to the code as well. So we're built on C# and Python, kind of standard coding languages. If ever there is a limitation, you're able to go in and do the bits that you need to do there. Okay? Now, the idea of genuine care. We like to do business a little bit differently. So I mentioned some of our competitors at the beginning who are, let's say, quite famous for not always being the best to work with. We like to do things very differently. And because our goal is to help you be self-sufficient and to help you build out your platform with us and do as much as possible, we're always here to support. And we put a lot of our time and investment as a company into being very available for workshops, for training, for guidance, or if you don't have your own resources to do your implementations and deliveries, we will be here to help you with that as well. But I showed at the beginning that customer feedback score we get is generally very high, and this is a very big part of why, because we really do work very closely together with our customers to make sure you're getting what you can out of the system. And actually with no code, where for most businesses, it's a big change trying to do things in this way, trying to get all your teams moved into this way of thinking and that cultural shift, that's a big challenge around the change management side as well. So we also put a lot of time in making sure that that is dealt with in the appropriate way. So the goal of all of this, what we want to do is to create an end-to-end customer journey, fully automated, fully managed in a single platform. We wouldn't do this on day one. We're not going to ask you all to go out and rip and replace all your systems. One of the other good bits of Creatio is that we can start with a process or one functional area where you have a challenge, and then we can build out that solution. But over time, you can build out more and more as you go. But what we want to do is end up with something like this. So you can see we start with marketing, through to sales, to your front office, your kind of customer onboarding, lending, loan originations, underwriting, and having all this data stored in one place and a single process linking all these different teams together. The data and security is, of course, very important. So all of it is protected of who can see what. There's extensive rules and permissions in the system to protect where that data is being shown and who can access it. But by linking all of these different teams together, if you think about your business now, if you have a marketing team using one platform and then your sales team using another, and that gets through a KYC department, and then you have customer service logging into something else, if you've had these issues before, you'll understand there's a huge benefit here to putting them all in one place and connecting them all together. So going a little bit more specifically on some of the banking processes, and again, this is off the shelf on day one. So we're not telling you that you can go away and build these. We're going to have this ready for you as the starting blocks for you to then build out your individual processes around these using the no code. So for customer 360, oh, we're going the wrong way. There we go. So for customer 360, I talked about joining everyone together in one place. You've got the customer service, the marketing, sales, everything in between. You've got all that data together. And because all that data is together, I think it's set to a timer. I'm going to have to speak faster. Because it's all in one place together, you can then use that data in much better ways. So we also come with native AI and machine learning tools within the system. I could speak to you for an hour on the AI side of things. So if anyone is interested and wants to know more about what we do there, please let me know. But having that data is the first step, and then what you do with that afterwards, the automations, the next best offers, the triggers to your customers or internally, the risk teams being able to be warned about certain transactions and things like that, it all exists within that same system. Now again, for lending and loan origination, having the ability to create different product lists very quickly, to be able to change your products and your processes for lending very quickly. If regulations change about the information you need to record on a customer as part of that process or the checks you need to go through, how quickly can you change that process? Can you actually keep up with changing regulations, or is it always in the backlog to do this? This is the idea of the speed that you're getting, is how to keep up with the needs of the business. Customer experience, so on that case management side, talking about omni-channel communications, whether it's through social media, emails, calls, wherever it's coming from, pulling it into one place, having all that data together, and then being able to automate the processes or have different steps for each different type of case created in the system. Now, for those of you who have quite large companies, you're going to need a lot of different cases for all the different types of complaints or comments or questions that you get through to your business. So how quickly can you create those different cases for your different products and services to keep up with what you're actually trying to do? So it's all about speed and all of this coming through in the system. So the business outcomes, what we are looking for is, one, delivering that great customer experience. You can become a much more tailored business. Your messaging, the products, what you're delivering to your customers is going to be what they actually want. They're going to get that automation they want when they apply for a loan, when they open an account, because all that process is going to be managed in Creatio, end-to-end setup, connected to all your different systems. You're going to have that operational excellence where your internal employees are happier, they're logging into one system. The system is set up for them how they need it. When the service team log in, they'll have their section. All the data points are just what they need. Someone said to me this morning, he was talking about they're using a different platform and they've got different service teams and they have different drop downs they need to use, but it's all a big mess because they have kind of a jumble of 20 different drop downs to select from, but it doesn't really work. And I said, that's exactly the kind of thing that with Creatio, you remove all that because you can, in the space of an hour, update it. So this team sees these drop down, this team sees these drop down, but the management can see the total sum of all the different things together. And it's just about having that speed to get the platform exactly as you want it, when you want it, is a big, big thing. And then that time to market, again, is really that purpose. If you need to add a new application or change an application, how quickly can you do it, and how much does it cost you? Because with software, time is cost. If it takes a day or it takes a month, that's a big, big thing. We have customers going live with Creatio, kind of quite complex KYC processes, customer onboarding, things like this, in a couple of months from start to finish. And that includes kind of the scoping, testing, training, that kind of thing, which might not sound super fast to some of you, but if you think about how long it would take to build these kind of platforms the traditional way, it's a lot longer. So there's a lot of value here. So the next question I usually get is, well, look, this sounds good, but in the real world, businesses are complex. Can we really use no code? Are there limitations to what we're able to do? We're working with global companies across banking, insurance, various other areas, for likes of BNP Paribas, MetLife Insurance, Willis Towers Watson Insurance, Raiffeisen Bank, and kind of other global banking institutions using Creatio for all kinds of different things. some for very small particular use cases, some like OTP Bank, who have kind of built their end-to-end system around Creatio and what it can do. So there's a lot of flexibility here. What we would usually say is, for you guys, if you're thinking about your own business and you're curious about no-code and how it could fit in, we've already got an ecosystem, we've already got platforms in place. Where does Creatio come into all this? What we usually suggest is find an application, a process. We don't need to start big, rip and replace. Let's start small, get a small team within your company using the platform, understanding how to use it. You can test out those benefits as you go, and it's going to be a very cost-effective way to start. Okay, now to wrap things up, does anyone know who this guy is? Yes, okay, so this is Steve Wozniak, who is the co-founder of Apple. Now, he joined us at one of our events just a few months ago now to talk about the real birth of no-code and the way companies are moving into this no-code way of doing things, and to celebrate the release of a book that we have written called the No-Code Playbook. If you guys reach out to me afterwards, we can send you copies of these. Now, this isn't about Creatio. This is a set of methodologies on how to move your business into a no-code business. One of the challenges of no-code isn't the actual tools themselves. They work very well. How do you change your developer mindsets, your BA mindsets, your management, your business team's mindsets of how flexible they can really be? How do you set up that culture shift and set up those processes to make sure everything is running as smoothly as possible? Okay, so we've already given out all the copies we had upstairs today. But if you do reach out to me, my name's Josh Hughman. I'll be upstairs as well for the rest of the day. Please do come by and we'll get some of these sent out for you. Okay, if it's good enough for Steve Wozniak, hopefully it's good enough for you guys. Okay, that's it from me as a quick introduction to no-code and Creatio and what we are doing. Any questions? Anything you would like to know? Yes. Yes, sorry, there's a microphone here. It's for the video recording.
My name's... Okay, cool. My name's David Su. I'm from BlackRock, and I work sort of on our data platform, and we're kind of building something quite similar to this.
Okay.
And the challenge that we see is like, how does a tool like this think about governance and the different processes are being built by all the distributed teams and change management and all of that?
Yeah, it's really good. So it's a really good question, especially at that larger kind of enterprise scale. So within Creatio, we have a separate governance application that manages, again, it manages the rights of who can and can't change things, but it manages that full history of changes and audit changes and planning of when things are going to be released and changed as well. So the tool set is in itself, it's just a tool set for doing things quicker. Things still need to be managed and governed in the right way, and people managing the scoping, the delivery, the testing still need to know how to do that side of things. And the system is set up with that governance application to help make sure that is all happening and tracked correctly. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Any questions or any thoughts on how you guys could use this? Yes.
Thanks very much. I just wonder if you could say a little more about the use of AI and what benefits that brings within Creatio.
Absolutely. So we think of AI and machine learning really in two core areas right now. So one is through the machine learning side and the usage of the data in the system. So taking the data that's in there or the data we're pulling in and out of the other systems, and then using that to automate decisions or prompts or next steps. So particularly in banking, where we see this often is kind of next best offers, next best actions. If you're speaking to your kind of teller within the bank, kind of automatically telling them what to suggest and what to do based on the data that's in the system. It might be online, again, tailored loans or tailored offers based on their data that's in the system. Or it can be around the AI side, and where we're seeing this is more in the actual generative speech kind of place. So we have an integration with ChatGPT, which is also another fun buzzword at the minute, but how people are starting to use ChatGPT in a really fun number of ways. So one would be you create your dashboard for the reports you want to see using the no code, and then you use ChatGPT to build you a written text about that report. So based on the targets you've got in your system, you can just build out what you want it to say. It's pretty cool. We've also been using ChatGPT. This is in the roadmap coming soon, where you tell it what you want the screen to look like, and it will build it for you. This is still a little way off, but I would think within the next 6 months to a year, that's the kind of thing we're looking at. We have a lot of service teams where, again, ChatGPT is built into the system. So when you have, whether it's a chatbot or cases or questions, kind of the first line of support isn't just a pre-written chatbot. It is a ChatGPT kind of like tool that's providing a lot of that customer service. So there's just a lot of different areas where things can be used. Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, guys, well, look, thank you very much. We've got a Creatio booth upstairs. If you do have any questions or thoughts on no code, please do come by and say hello. Okay? Thank you.